Right then, let's talk about the most important part of any car. It's not the shiny badge on the front, nor is it the ludicrously expensive optional carbon fiber trim. It's the engine, the motor, that glorious, oily, noisy lump of metal under the bonnet that turns explosions into speed. It is, quite literally, the heart of your vehicle, a mechanical marvel of pistons, cylinders, and controlled detonations, all working in a frantic, violent symphony to get you from your dreary house to your even drearier office. Without it, your car is nothing more than a very heavy, very awkward-to-push garden ornament. It's the source of all the power, all the drama, and all the soul a car possesses. Now you might think that this magnificent piece of engineering, forged in the fires of industry and designed by boffins with enormous brains, would be immortal. You might imagine it will go on forever, faithfully roaring into life every morning with the turn of a key. But you would be wrong. Spectacularly wrong. Think of it like a star athlete. For a time, they are invincible, powerful, and at the peak of their game. But, eventually, the years of violent exertion take their toll. Knees give way, muscles tear, and they spend more time on the physiotherapist's table than on the field. Your car's engine is exactly the same, only its physiotherapist is a chap named Barry in greasy overalls. The truth is, from the very first time you start it, your engine begins its long, slow march towards the great scrapyard in the sky. Every single revolution, every piston stroke, every single gear change is a tiny step closer to its eventual demise. It's a relentless battle against physics, a war fought on a microscopic level inside its metal guts. This isn't a design flaw, it's an unavoidable consequence of what we ask it to do. We demand that it endures thousands of explosions per minute, withstands biblical temperatures, and does it all with the grace of a ballet dancer. It's an impossible task, and the fact it lasts as long as it does is, frankly, a miracle of modern science. This process of wearing out isn't something that happens overnight, it's a gradual, insidious decline. It's not a sudden, catastrophic failure like a tire blowout during a power slide. Instead, it's a slow degradation, a bit like how your favorite jumper gets a bit baggy and frayed after a few too many washes. The engine's once perfect tolerances begin to widen, its crisp mechanical noises turn into tired rattles, and its power starts to ebb away. It's a sad, inevitable truth of mechanical life. The very forces that give your car its thrilling performance are the same ones that are patiently, methodically, and relentlessly trying to destroy it from the inside. And that, I'm afraid, is the brutal bargain we make. So, what are these malevolent forces conspiring to murder your engine? Well, first on the list is the arch nemesis of all moving parts, friction. Inside your engine, you have metal bits, like pistons and bearings, moving against other metal bits at frankly ludicrous speeds. We're talking thousands of times a minute. Even with a slippery film of oil, which we'll get to, there is always some contact. This rubbing action, over millions and millions of cycles, literally grinds away the metal, shaving off microscopic particles. It's like trying to sand a block of wood with another block of wood. Eventually, both will wear down. It's a slow, grinding death sentence for any mechanical component. Next up in this trio of terror is heat. The inside of a cylinder during combustion is hotter than the surface of the sun. Alright, that might be a slight exaggeration, but it gets properly, biblically hot. We're talking hundreds of degrees Celsius. This extreme heat causes the metal components to expand and contract. Over time, this constant cycle of heating and cooling, known as thermal stress, can cause the metal to fatigue. It can lead to tiny, invisible cracks forming in critical parts like the cylinder head or engine block. Eventually, one of those tiny cracks can become a very big, very expensive crack, and that's when you're in a world of trouble. And that brings us to the third villain, filth. I'm talking about old, dirty engine oil. Fresh oil is the lifeblood of your engine. It's a golden, slippery elixir that lubricates, cools, and cleans. But as it does its job, it picks up all sorts of nasty contaminants. Tiny, metal shavings from friction, soot from combustion, and other gunk. Over time, the oil breaks down, losing its slipperiness and turning into a thick, abrasive sludge. Using old oil is like trying to protect your engine with liquid sandpaper. It doesn't lubricate properly, it doesn't cool effectively, and it actively helps friction to grind your engine's insides into a metallic paste. it's automotive suicide. These three forces, friction, heat and dirty oil, work together in a dreadful partnership. The heat breaks down the oil, making it less effective. The less effective oil allows more friction. More friction creates more heat and sheds more metal particles, which makes the oil even dirtier. It's a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of destruction that relentlessly attacks the engine's core. Every time you neglect an oil change or thrash the engine from cold, you are essentially giving this unholy trinity a helping hand in its mission to turn your magnificent motor into a useless boat anchor. It's a slow, painful process that happens entirely out of sight. How do you know when your engine is waving the white flag? Well, it won't send you a politely worded email. Instead, it will start making noises. Ominous noises. A healthy engine has a smooth, consistent hum, but a worn one develops a symphony of unpleasant sounds. You might hear a knocking or pinking sound under acceleration, which could mean the bearings that support the crankshaft are worn out. You could hear a ticking or tapping noise from the top of the engine, a sign that the valve train components are loose and clattering about. These aren't the happy, purposeful noises of a machine at work. They are the death rattles of a mechanism in its final throes. Another dead giveaway is smoke. And I don't mean a bit of steam on a cold morning. I'm talking about proper colored smoke billowing from the exhaust pipe. If you see blue smoke, that's a classic sign that your engine is burning oil. This happens when the piston rings or valve seals are so worn that they can no longer stop oil from leaking into the combustion chamber, where it gets burned along with the fuel. White smoke, if it smells sweet, is even worse. That's coolant, meaning you probably have a blown head gasket, a catastrophic failure where the engine is essentially boiling itself from the inside out. Then there's the simple, undeniable loss of oomph. Your car just won't feel as sprightly as it used to. It will be sluggish when you pull away from the lights, and overtaking on the motorway will become a terrifying life-or-death gamble rather than a simple flex of your right foot. This happens because the seals inside the engine, particularly the piston rings, are no longer tight. The explosive pressure from combustion, which is meant to push the piston down and create power, leaks past the worn rings. This loss of compression means a loss of power. The engine is working just as hard, but a good chunk of its effort is literally vanishing into thin air. Imagine an old family saloon. Let's call it the Colonel. For 20 years, the Colonel has chugged along, its engine a faithful servant. But the oil changes became infrequent, and its owner started ignoring the strange tapping sound. One day, on a long incline, the Colonel starts to struggle. Blue smoke puffs from its exhaust. The tapping becomes a loud clatter, the engine shudders violently, and with a final metallic scream, it goes silent. The pistons have seized, the bearings have disintegrated, and the engine has suffered a fatal mechanical heart attack. The Colonel's no more. It's a sad end, and one that could have been postponed, if not avoided entirely. So, you want to keep your engine from suffering the same fate as the Colonel? Good. It's not actually that difficult, you just have to stop being lazy. The single most important thing you can possibly do is change the oil and the oil filter regularly. Don't listen to manufacturers who claim their cars can go 20,000 miles between services. That's just marketing nonsense designed to make fleet managers happy. For a normal person, changing the oil every 8,000 to 10,000 miles, or at least once a year, is the golden rule. Fresh oil is cheap. A new engine is not. It's the simplest, most effective way to combat that unholy trinity of wear. Next, be gentle, especially when the engine is cold. When you first start the car, the oil is thick and sitting at the bottom of the engine in the sump. It takes a few moments to circulate and properly lubricate everything. Thrashing a cold engine is the absolute worst thing you can do. It's like waking someone up by punching them in the face. Let the engine warm up for a minute or two by driving gently. Don't rev it to the red line until the temperature gauge is sitting happily in the middle. This simple act of mechanical sympathy will add years to your engine's life. Let it get into its stride before you demand the world from it. You must also pay attention to the cooling system. That biblical heat we talked about is managed by the radiator, coolant, and a collection of hoses. Make sure your coolant level is correct, and have it changed according to the manufacturer's schedule. Coolant, just like oil, degrades over time and loses its ability to protect against both heat and corrosion. A failed water pump or a split radiator hose can cause the engine to overheat in minutes, leading to warped cylinder heads and catastrophic damage. The cooling system is the engine's bodyguard. Make sure it's always fit for duty. It's a closed loop of utter importance. Finally, listen to your car. Don't just turn the music up to drown out that new rattle or strange whining sound. Your car is trying to tell you something. It's telling you that it's in pain. Those little noises are early warnings. If you catch them early, a small, inexpensive repair could be all that's needed. If you ignore them, they will inevitably escalate into a very large, very expensive, and very terminal problem. In short, use clean oil, be gentle when it's cold, keep it cool, and listen to its complaints. Do that, and your engine might just outlast the rest of the car. Don't, and you'll be on the bus. The choice is yours.